Welcome to everyone's favorite time of the year, submitting grades. With the new export to SIS feature in the Brightspace gradebook, hopefully things are easier and more certain than they've ever been. Some of the things we'll have to do are going to be reminiscent of our old methods, where we have to ensure that the final adjusted grade column has grade values and is set to be released. Then we'll have to do a slight conversion, and then we can export to the SIS, export to SIS to colleague once we've done that. I know it sounds like a few extra steps, but with this new method or with this new workflow, we can confirm that your grades have made it over to colleague. You won't have to call or email and ask, did my grades make it? Did they not make it? I thought I exported them properly, or I thought I submitted them properly. With this new method, there won't be any confusion if your grades made it to their destination. So first and foremost, we need to get our grades from the final calculated column to the final adjusted column. Remember, you'll use the final calculated column 99% of the time, because this is where Brightspace will actually calculate the grade for students based off of all of the weights and percentages that you have set up in your grade book. And we just want to move those grades to the final adjusted column at the end of the semester when you're ready to send those over to colleague. So let's go to settings in the gradebook. We're going to click on calculation options. It is the third tab. And we will scroll down to the final grades released section. And it looks like ours is set for adjusted final grade and automatically release final grade. So that's good to go there. We'll hit save and then yes. Navigate back to the gradebook. So once you see the eyeball icon with a little line through it, that indicates that this grade column is being released to students, but they cannot see it. So not only are there no grades in this column, if there were, because the eyeball has a line through it, students wouldn't be able to see them. So we need to make an adjustment there. Click on the downward arrow next to final adjusted grade and click enter grades. From here, if everybody's grade looks accurate, you can just click the arrow here and it will shoot over their current grade or points grade, whatever it may be. You can see once I clicked save and I left that menu that the grades then populated appropriately. If you still had the line on the eyeball, you'll want to go into enter grades and ensure that each user has a check mark in the released column over here on the far right. If they don't have that check mark, when you save and close, that user will be the only one in the list whose grade is not released. And when I say released in this context, I mean the student wouldn't be able to see this grade. Once everyone's grades are populated in the final adjusted column, the eyeball is open and present on all grades. We then need to convert these percentage grades to letter grades, and it's very simple to do that. All you have to do is click on Schemes. Simply click on the checkbox for the scheme you want to switch to. So we are selecting MCC default as the default grade scheme for this org unit or this class. We'll notice that the check mark then shoots down from percentage back to MCC default. If we go back to our grade book, you'll notice that everybody now has a letter grade associated with their percentage grade has been replaced with a letter grade, which is perfect because that's the data that needs to be sent to colleague. Colleague likes letters over numbers, we have learned. So all you have to do now is click on Export to SIS. A table will populate where you can make any adjustment. So let's say this student got a C and you think, you know what, they were pretty close to it, we want to give them a B. You can go ahead and just override manually. You have another opportunity to override that grade. And really from here, all you have to do is click export and it will send that data over to colleague immediately. Editor's note here. In the video that I was just showcasing where it shows the grade export detail screen, I received an error. That's simply because the course that I was demoing this in is not a live course. The students in it don't receive grades, so it didn't have a place to route those grades to within Colleague. So I got an error. But for all of our properly created courses with all of our students enrolled in them who are expecting to receive grades, when you click export, you will get the grade export details screen. And you should see a lot of successes and, successfully sent to SIS, things like that on that table that you're presented with. If you see any errors or fail to send messages, please reach out to online@mclennan.edu and we will investigate to see what is going on with those specific users. It'll say that it's sending, that it's been a success, and you'll be able to see that the grades were successfully processed and sent to the SIS or sent to Colleague. Anybody who is excluded, or if a specific user had an error, you would see that in the table as well on the details screen. For students who receive an incomplete, you simply need to enter the letter I on the override screen. Just simply give them the letter I, and that will be translated over to an incomplete. No more having to remember, is it -1, -2, -3, nothing like that. For our credit and non-credit students, again, we don't have to remember -2 or -3, which is which. If you just give them a traditional passing grade, they will be transferred over as credit. And if you give them a traditional failing grade, it will send that over as no credit. So in this instance, you could give this student an F, and that would be transferred as no credit. If you gave them a 50, that would be transferred as no credit, because the class is set up to be looking for some sort of below or a failing grade, a below passing grade, or a passing grade, and it just translates that value to credit or no credit. So don't have to remember -2 or -3. Simply give them a passing grade if they got credit, give them a failing grade if they got no credit. If you have any questions or need some assistance with your gradebook or grade export, please reach out to online@mclennan.edu and a member of our team will be able to assist you. You can also reach out to the Records and Registration Office if you need to verify that your grades have been exported properly, but with this new Export to SIS feature in Brightspace, it should be apparent that your grades have been exported properly to Colleague.